Welcome to the Dr. Joe Show. We are currently underway doing our presentation of the Escepcion jar. Now, I'm very excited because today the cigars got here. And I'm not really sure how I'm going to put this video together at the moment, but I guess, whatever. I want to show everybody how things work, how things happen. So I'll be very as it is, you know what I mean? I was thinking, you know what? How about I just put get the cigars, put them in the jar, and just show the jar. Cool, but I just want to show how things go down to people who don't know. Now, one may think this: oh, you get the jar and the cigars separate, and the cigars could be something else, blah blah blah. Yes, true, but it's the same way if you get them in the jar. If you get them in, the jar is open. First of all, this La Escepcion jar is empty to begin with, and it was supposed to be that you buy the jar, and you buy a couple of boxes of La Escepcion cigars, 2 boxes, and then you pay an extra $100 and you can get the jar. That was the deal. Unfortunately, all the vendors ran out, grabbed as many as they could, and then filled them with 30 cigars and sold them for higher than it would have been if you got the 2 boxes and the thing. So is that right? No, it's wrong. It's really wrong. They really shouldn't be doing this. They're taking advantage of the fact, that people collect these things and they really want them. They really are taking advantage. In a sense, it is actually against, we'll call it illegal as far as Habanos SA is concerned and the rules they make for vendors. It is illegal to charge more than the list price for cigars. The problem with this one is that the jar was a separate entity, so they're taking advantage. But there are several vendors in trouble right now. There was a big stir-up, they really stirred up the shit pot in 2010, I think, and a lot of people started getting called out. And right now there are certain vendors under scrutiny by Habanos SA for their practices. And I really do hope, for everyone's sake, that they take care of the matter, because things are starting to reach ridiculous fucking prices, man. Ridiculous prices. If they want to open up a separate site and start doing call it, this is collector's market, and we're not associated with Habanos SA, the cigars we get, we resell at a collector's value, fine. But then they lose the privilege of, being associated with Habanos SA, because that really is a badge that says my cigars are real in a certain sense. Make sure, I always tell people, if you're overseas and you're traveling, make sure you go to an authorized retailer, either a La Casa del Habano shop or anything that's authorized by Habanos SA. I forget exactly how to check that, because you can't depend on a badge on a website. Anybody can take a little snapshot and I own 3 websites. They can easily do that. It's not, no matter, they can just say, yeah, okay, whatever. Here's a little picture of Habanos SA says, hey, you got to take that down. You're not associated with us. Oh, but it's just a little picture of, the thing under the box of the cigars. There's all sorts of little loopholes and bullshit. Anyway, today the package came, and I'm really excited. We're going to open it up. We're going to look at the cigars. Everything's as is. I also want to say, because this package came, and several emails I've gotten over the last couple of days, it's like everybody has the same question all of a sudden. I hope there isn't a thing going on. But people are asking, what happens when the cigars are confiscated, and what kind of legal repercussions do I face if this happens? And there are some things to talk about. And I emailed one guy. I probably go over it in viewer email, a whole big story about a matter that happened to me. And I still have the box and the paperwork and everything that goes along with that. So one day down the line, I can make a video and show everybody, exactly what you'll get and exactly what will happen. But for now, we're going to concentrate on this. The last couple of days have been hell. It's been snowing out. It's freezing cold. Bad weather to order cigars in, really, but I had to do this jar thing now because eventually they only made 200 of these things. That's nothing. They'll be gone by the summer. The only thing keeping them around right now is the freaking ridiculous price on them. But I do, want to get into all that stuff. We're definitely going to smoke one of these. I'm planning on, hopefully, if I get some money to see, this is the problem. you know, with cigars. There's so many things I want to buy, but you know, I got to concentrate on my stuff that's important to me. I'm gonna probably try to get another separate box of Escepcion cigars. I know where I can get them, you know, and they're expensive. But first of all, let me tell you, they're limited to 2,000 boxes, and the only reason they're still around, again, is price. You know, people don't like to pay $600 for a box of cigars, or even $450, you know, or 400. Certain people just don't. One guy emailed me and says, I get itchy when I start spending over $200. All right, there's not much you can do. I mean, I guess you order boxes of 10 of most of the things you get, which aren't really, you know, there are different qualities that are concerned too. You know, a lot of people believe through smoking experience that larger cabinet boxes, as far as standard releases are concerned, hold better cigars than regular boxes, or you know, even little boxes of 10 hold lesser quality cigars. I don't know. This day and age, you know, right now quality is pretty good, and a lot of good cigars are around. So, but you never know when a bad tobacco year is going to hit. Point being is that I love these Escepcion cigars. I've smoked a lot of them already. They came out around the time when the cigar shop was about to close, and people were bringing these in left and right, and they were just dynamite, man. Because one of the things I'm always seeking, my holy grail, is a Cuban cigar with that's very well balanced, with a lot of flavor and a lot of strength. I like strength. I like power. I like the feeling of, you know, the nicotine. You know, I've been a smoker since I was 13. You know, I'm smoking over 20 years. Is it bad for you? Yeah, it's bad for you, but you know, whatever. There's a lot of things that's bad for you that I don't do. So everybody has their shit. I love these Escepcion cigars. I think they come really close to being a type of cigar that I could smoke every single day. You know, I like, you know, I said before, I like little Coronas, I like Robusto-sized cigars and stuff like that. But when it comes to longer cigars, I really like, you know, nothing really bigger than a Churchill. I don't want a 7-inch by 60-inch engaged cigar. I just don't enjoy that. Even Churchills are a little much for me, you know, as far as length most of the time. I mean, I will smoke a double Corona, but most of the time. When it comes to longer cigars, I really love Lancero type shapes. Panatellas, Lanceros, longer, thinner cigars. Ideally, like the Dahlia from the Metal de Oro No. 2, La Gloria Cabana. Great size of a full-length cigar. These are great. They're 38 ring gauge, and you know, nice. I think they're about six something inches, maybe almost 7. But they're definitely a 38 ring gauge. And oh God, problem is if I got 30 and I put them in this jar and I smoke one, I'm down to 29. Now the jar is broken up. And then once that happens, I'm like, well, it's already missing one. I might as well smoke another one. The China Regional Edition Bolivars were so freaking great that I already smoked. I have 18 of them now. 18 left out of a jar of 25. You know, I want to save these. I want to age these. These are really high-end collectible cigars. There's so much other shit to smoke. The problem is they're so good that I can't help it. And you know, now if you want a Regional Edition China Bolivar, you know, Distinguido cigar, they're $100 a pop in most places. You know, in England anyway, they're $107 each. That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous, man. That's ridiculous. The jar came out, it was $1,600. You know, there's 25 cigars. You're charging $107 a piece. That means that's over $2,500. You know, that's effing nuts. Here we are. We cut open the package, and I gotta say, everything has come so beautiful so far. The box is clean, which is, you know, there's always some sort of problem with that a lot of the time. The jar is clean. They got a few fingerprints on the gold parts, which I hate that because the shit does not come off. Does not wipe off. Once it tarnishes, that's it. I gotta figure out what kind of agent can I use. If anybody knows, what kind of agent can I use to remove that stuff? Because I'm afraid to put anything on there that I might ruin the paint or whatever. But if you own jars and you touch them, wipe them down, man. Don't even touch the gold parts. They really get ugly. This site is great though. Everything they wrapped and shipped and packaged came promptly, beautiful, you know, like look at that, come on, it's like a gift, you know, and that makes me, I like that, I like that a lot. It's respect for the customer, it shows that you're not in a rush, you know, you do things right. Gene something, inventor of the Belgian, does that say praline? Yeah, the Belgian praline? It's a box of pralines. I didn't order a box of pralines. They put it in a box that says Chariton, 25 Robustos made in Nicaragua. Okay. Guess they had to find a box that would fit 30, I should have 30 of these La Escepcion cigars. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh man. Okay, so we've cleaned everything up over here. Actually, it's the next day. I just got tired and everything and had to just crash. But I guess all the stress of waiting for everything to get here knocked me out. But it did, and everything is absolutely fantastic. I put everything together and filled everything up here, so we're ready to just look at the whole thing as a whole. And I mean, look, this purchase is extravagant and obviously extremely overpriced, but it is what it is. One person who, look, you're either obsessed with it or you're not. You know, I'm obsessed with cigars and I'm obsessed with the jars for some reason, and it really kind of makes a deadly combo for me. And one person said, if you're gonna collect, you gotta collect. That's the problem, you know. They take advantage of the fact that people are obsessed with these fucking things, and you know, whatever. So, hey, it is what it is, and hopefully, you know, I've seen jars. I own jars that started at a price that's a third of what they are selling for now. So at least you end up with something that you know you can at least find somebody to resell to for the initial value. And most of the time, after some years pass, actually, especially if it's a good cigar, I mean, you know, the jar is what it is, and somebody's willing to pay for it because they're a collector too. But then on top of that, you say 10 years later, the cigars in there are aged 10 years, you're like, okay, well, these cigars were released 2011, so actually they're not really 3, they're more like 2 and change. Because I think it was later in 2011. But let me tell you, I'm extremely satisfied. The cigars are absolutely amazing. They're, for the most part, it looks pretty much like I received one box of, you know, a darker cigar and then 5 singles that were lighter, and I'm glad it happened that way and not the other way around, because I prefer dark cigars. I just find that they have more flavor most of the time within the same brand. You know, if you have a box of Partagas D4s and you have another box of Partagas D4s, and you know, one is darker than the other, I'll 90% of the time, as long as construction looks good, I'll choose the darker box because I find that they have more flavor. Not more strength, brand history. We went over pricing and how ridiculous it is. We went over the cigar itself. We're going to look at the cigar itself now. That's what we want to do. And I'll show you a few more things about the inside of the jar and what I did. But look, after all is done, I'm glad I did this, because it's always the same thing. When I pass one of these up, it just ends up getting more expensive, and then years later I'm kicking myself for not having gotten it, and I'm like, oh geez, you know. So I'm really happy that this is now a part of my collection, and that's just fantastic. Let's move along and do this. And we're absolutely going to review one of these things, because I had, you know, a few left over. I want to keep a full jar, but I had a few left over from another box that I had bought a while ago when they first came out. However, I want to review the cigar. I know what they're like because of smoking them. I smoked quite a few of them. It was one of the last cigars that came out before my shop closed, or the shop I worked at closed. And I want to smoke one of the cigars I received from this vendor. So what I'm going to do is just, you know, take some of the cigars I already had and put them in here. They're from the same release. It doesn't really matter. So we're going to try one of those out, and I'll let you know how it compares to what I know the cigar to be. And that's going to be a lot of fun. So let's take a look at the inside of the jar.